5 years ago we bought the land, dug the basement. I did help with the basement footings and stuff and putting the foam walls up. I did all the backfilling myself, moved the house on from Belcaris. I was quite the talk of the town. At Coffee Road they said, you got to go over to Rosedale Avenue and see this silly old man with a bobcat with one arm backfilling his house. And I had a few visitors. Of course, I'd stop and want to visit with them. Well, no, they didn't want me to stop. They wanted me to keep on working because they see what I could do. After we got started on this house, my wife's brother-in-law, he decided to build down here, or get a house and do the same thing. So I've been working at his place. My son last year bought a house down here, and we're working on it. So that's 3 places we worked on. Up the road from our place, a farm was sold, and a young fella from Sweden came over and got to know him, and he called me up last week and wanted to know about some wiring on his new machine shed he was making, and I was telling him a little bit, you know, this and that. And he said, will you come and help me? So now I've got 4 things on the go, and that's just about enough. When I was in the baler, 2 or 3 things happened actually. You know, I was ripped from, my leg was tore from the pickup, and some of my stomach was tore because I was being pulled in towards it, and I couldn't. So I thought, well, now how am I, you know, you're thinking, what am I going to do? What can I do? Because I remember Murray's story about he had one arm in, and so how got the other one caught, and I didn't want to do that. So I thought, well, I'm going to have to keep this arm out. So I thought, well, you know, if I could split the rollers, maybe I would quick enough take them out, take my arm out. But so I took my boots off, they were steel-tooled screws, and shoved them in. And that was quite a conversation when I was in the hospital. Why was my boots in the baler? But I thought maybe I could spread the rollers and I could pull it out quick. No, it was too fast. Let's see, and then I thought, well, the pickup was scratching my front of me. So I thought, well, if I took some string, baler twine, which was right there, and try and get it wrapping around the pickup, it would maybe get it stopped. So then I thought, no, I can't do that because the belt would burn and maybe catch everything on fire. So then I thought, well, how could I do it? So I dug a hole and put my heel in and got my knee wedged against my body so that I wouldn't go in any further, and that's how I stayed till they found me. When they took me out, all that was left of my arm was the 2 bones. The rest was all tore away. The doctor says that's what saved my life, was because it burnt, cauterized as it was burned off.
I just can remember my first time meeting Doug Caswell, and he was a single arm. He wasn't a 2-arm, but we still had the same thoughts.
Until Murray came in, I didn't know what I was going to do. And when Murray came, there's a possibility that I could do it.
His thoughts were maybe a little different than mine, but how we were going to do things. You know, how we were going to drive tractor, even though he had one arm, it was a hassle of reaching over to get the hydraulics. How was he going to do that? You know, and he had milk cows, so how was he going to milk cows with one arm? So we talked about all those things, and we just knew that it would take time, and you know, and somehow he would get through it all.
Decided I could do it. I got pretty good at it. I did a lot of repairing. I got a phone call from Murray Bedell. He says, we're going to try and organize a disabled farmers program to help newly disabled people. Now, well, you know, that's a good idea, because Murray helped me. Surely I should join too. Maybe I can help somebody else. That was in '85. And then I've been in it ever since.
The doctor that was looking after my prosthetics and stuff, he talked to another doctor who talked to somebody in Saskatoon over the Abilities Council. And it just snowballed from there, and then before I knew it, we were in at a meeting talking about a group, a support group, And so we called ourselves the Handicap Farmers Group at that time. I think the critical thing when we talk about peer counseling is that we match up with each other. So the amputees will talk to an amputee, because my understanding, I've never been in a wheelchair, but being in a wheelchair is different than being than having your limbs amputated. When you're amputated, that's gone, and when you're sitting in a chair, you still have those limbs, but it is my understanding a whole different thought pattern. You have to deal with that first.
Okay, thank you. I started skiing with my kids in high school. I skied for quite a few years with them, and then I took my youngest boy to Fort Capel, and I knew Murray, of course, and of course he went skiing with us, and we had quite a good time, and I found that I could ski, and I enjoy it. Do you fall? Oh yeah, you have some pretty good headers once in a while, but you get up. And what would I tell other people about disability? Well, not too much. I'm disabled, and go on. So you just, one day is gone, you look for the next one.